Welcome to Cinema Bing Bong, your monthly film magazine program dedicated to the career of the late, great Donald Sutherland. Rest in peace, big man. One of my all-time favourite actors, the best moustache of the 1970s, a really life-changing scream queen. Rest up, big man. My name is Amelia, and I'm joined by Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca.
I didn't know that you were going to say all that stuff about Donald Sutherland.
Well, I figured the easiest way to get an in memoriam segment in Bing Bong is just to lay it all out in the front. And I've been reflecting because last time I said, it's dedicated to my boyfriend Josh O'Connor, whatever.
Yeah.
I think my real boyfriend is Donald Sutherland. R.I.P.
I've only seen one of his movies.
Which one?
Hunger Games.
Oh, shit. He's in a lot of my favourite films. The Brood. He's in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Don't Look Now. Clute, of course. Clute. I think you'd like Clute. I think you should check out Clute.
It does sound like a little bit made up.
It's one of the only films my mum ever walked out of. So... My dad's only walked out of The Poseidon Adventure and my mum walked out of Clute.
I've never walked out of a movie.
Neither. But I think it would be fun one day.
I nearly walked out of a movie. I walked out of that one at the film festival that was like in the 80s and like had heaps of...
Liquid Sky.
Yeah.
I remember you saying you walked out of that. I've been meaning to watch it for a long time, but I'm scared to watch it in case I like it because I know you and our friend Michael... really didn't.
It has a lot. It's pretty much like non-stop sexual assault.
Okay. That's not the tagline on the poster.
It's like all that and then sort of like I think there's like revenge murder and there's some like sort of spoken word stuff.
Mm.
And it was like I think that I was like talking to a group of people like after like in the lobby afterwards and like half the people were like, yeah, I didn't enjoy seeing 2 hours of sexual assault.
No.
And the other half of the people were like, oh my God, it was awesome. That was like the coolest movie.
See, I don't know which side of the coin I'm going to be on that because it depends what the vibe is.
But I feel like you would have to at least be acknowledged.
You'd have to,
the violence of the movie. You wouldn't just be like, oh my God, awesome.
Despite all of the crimes against women, that was pretty kick-ass and that was killer.
Yeah, I think it was too much for me. And I saw it in the same film festival where I saw. Oh man, I can't remember the name of anything. That one, that guy who's like that French guy who's like fucked.
That's so many of the French.
And the movie is about like people who can't stop dancing.
Oh, yes, Climax.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw that and I saw Electric Sky and I was just like, filmmaking was a mistake.
I mean, the French, they've really pushed their kind of like reputation for being horrific perverts with their films. And speaking of, I think it's time to get into the meat, the flesh of the podcast. Are you ready, Rebecca?
God. I don't know which part is the flesh.
The flesh is where I'm going to talk about the beast that I saw.
This is the first time I've done this. How does it go?
En purifiant votre ADN, vous avez déjà posé de vos vies antérieures, vous nettoyez les traumatismes dont vous avez hérité depuis des siècles.
De tous.
It can be very dangerous to bring someone back to who they were a few years before.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, Amelia wanted to see The Beast with me.
Yeah.
and was like, find out like when it's on. It's not being released in New Zealand.
No, which was really baffling to me because it's playing like 3 times a day in Melbourne. But so this is a French-Canadian sci-fi melodrama from...
I didn't know it was French Canadian.
Yeah, it's French-Canadian from Bertrand Bonello, who I think has made some like messed up pervert movies, but this is not really a messed up pervert movie. And it's got Léa Seydoux in it, and it's got George Mackay, who I hadn't heard of before. He's in 1917. Rebecca, do you know anything about this movie?
No, you like was talking about it so much, and like had seen the trailer so many times. I was like, I've never seen this trailer. Like, I've seen like a couple of tweets about this movie, and like that's it. And then it turned out to be because it's not being released yet.
I mean that would make sense. Yeah, so like I mean the trailers for this really made it look like it was kind of like gonna be like Cloud Atlas or something. Like we're connected through time. It turns out it's like a very kind of like weird, kind of almost like got a late 80s, early 90s energy, but like kind of Philip K. Dick science fiction movie. So it's like, all right, picture this, Rebecca.
Okay.
The year is 2044. Due to a horrific revolution/civil war in 2025, emotions they're bad now. People don't like them.
Okay.
Léa Seydoux still has emotions, which means she can.
Of course.
Which means she can only have a really terrible job. Her job is to monitor the cube. So there's a big orange. Yeah, there's a big orange cube in a kind of marble gallery, and she has to put her hand on it, and it tells her what the temperature is, and she has to make sure that the cube is the right temperature.
She has to make sure the cube is the right temperature.
Yeah, she has to make sure the cube is the right temperature. That's her job.
Okay.
But it's a bit of a slog, you know. It's like the 2044 equivalent of like an bullshit emails job, I guess. So she goes to the job department and she's like, "Hey, how can I get a better job?" And they're like, "Well, you'll have to purge your emotions, and to do that, you need to purify your DNA by getting in the ooze tank from." From under the skin, basically. You have to go into the room from under the skin, and then you have to revisit your past lives to cleanse yourself of the emotional trauma and purify your DNA so that you can't feel extreme emotion anymore.
And what is she wearing?
She's mostly wearing tan, kind of, like a big tan overcoat, little tan vest. That's what I mean when I say it's kind of like late 80s, or I guess almost like something like Alphaville, because it's like the future is just like they shot it somewhere with weird buildings, and everyone is basically just wearing kind of normal clothes but a bit more like, you know, they've got a vest on over a sweater. Like,
because like I think in the only image that I've seen she was wearing like dance practice.
That's for when,
sort of like black leggings and turtleneck.
So that's for when she's in 2014.
Oh, so she goes back.
Yeah, so I mean,
she goes back to 2014.
Yeah, so it's a very strange film. It's basically 2 movies because she revisits 2 past lives, and one of them was like Amelia's perfect movie, 5 stars, chef's kiss. The other one was like very odd in a way that I was kind of just like, huh. But, you know, I appreciated it. So, like, the first half, she goes back to 1911 when Paris floods, and she's the wife of a doll maker who's pioneering the use of new plastic dolls. But she doesn't really love him, and she's a pianist, and she's been trying to learn some serialism pieces. And it's basically her and like this guy who she feels like a deep connection with. And they're kind of like, who's not her husband. And they just kind of like walk around and they're like...
So this is not your perfect movie?
No, this bit is my perfect movie bit.
Ah.
Yeah, they're walking around talking about like serialism and being like, to me it feels like music without emotion.
What is serialism?
But what is... it's like... it's like kind of avant-garde-y. It's very technical. You make like a tone row. It's basically kind of like quite discordant, plinky-plonky, non-melodic music.
Okay.
Yes.
The only thing I only know about serial rights.
No, it's not.
Where you're like, you're signing like a contract that's like, oh, you're going to get 15% of serial rights. And you're like, well, that seems like a really bad deal, but also no one is going to serialize what I'm being contracted to give you.
You know what? It might not be actual serialism, but it is Schoenberg. They're talking about Schoenberg the whole time, and he's the serialism guy. But basically, they're sitting around and they're like, but what is the function of music if not to precipitate emotion? Well, it is the contemplation of beauty. But what is beauty if not an emotional response? I guess we will discover it when you learn the piece of music. And all the dialogue is really weird and stilted. And I was like, hell yeah, this rules. And then someone drowns in a fire at a doll factory. It's like truly bananas. And then like in her like present life, she gets assigned an android to watch over her, who's basically just like kind of like quite like a cool woman wearing like an all over brown like leotard bodysuit thing. And they go to a club where it's themed 1972 and everyone's dressed like it's 1972 and they're dancing to music from 1972.
And it wasn't wrong?
No, it was correct. as far as I can tell. I'm pretty sure it was correct. So that's the first half, and I was like, hell yeah. But then in the second half, they revisit the past life in 2014, and she is a model, and the guy who she has the connection with over time, which is kind of like the thing that's happening in the movie, is she like sees this guy and she's falling in love with this dude in her past lives. He is a incel terrorist.
Oh, man. Wait, in what era? In the modern era?
In 2014.
2014 era incel?
Yeah, he's a pioneering incel. He's a Gamergate era incel. And it's like, it's not bad. I just found it quite bizarre. But it also has that horrible woman from the Red Scare podcast in it as her like model friend, Dasha. What's her name?
Oh, I didn't know she was an actor.
Yeah, she's an actor. She's in stuff. So it's like, it's really odd. The second half, because you're just hanging out in 2014 and a lot of stuff, because they're like going on the internet and stuff, and you're like, that's not what a browser looked like in 2014.
Right.
That's not what a pop-up window did in 2014. I guess maybe that is what incels were like in 2014, but I'm not sure if that's ideally what I wanted to hang out with in this movie.
Can you please tell me why I thought the movie was about her being in a play?
Because she's like a model / actor in 2014, and there's bits where she has to go do acting against a green screen, and so there's a guy telling her what she needs to do, and she's acting very theatrically, and that's like all they used for the trailers was like her picking up a knife and then looking into the camera and going, ooh.
No, I think that there's some other facet to this situation. I am looking into it. Here we go. The second act is a 2024 French comedy film written, shot, and edited by Quentin Dupieux. It stars Léa Seydoux, blah, blah, blah. The plot follows a young woman who brings her boyfriend to meet her father. It's a meta-comedy about actors in a doomed film production.
Oh, so you're just thinking of a different movie.
I was just thinking of a different French movie starring Léa Seydoux that comes out this year that was not released in New Zealand. Alors.
Yeah. Even though I'm not dying to watch an hour-long film set in 2014 about an incel, I actually really enjoyed this, and I liked how how kind of like single-minded and like goofy the moral of it is. Like, what if there was a world without emotion? Isn't emotion good, maybe? But what if emotion goes too far?
Yeah, it sounds like a film that you would see in a festival when you're watching like 2 or 3 films a day.
Yeah. Except it's like, yeah, and it's but it's also like just very, it's more stylish than the kind of movie you see when you're watching 2 or 3 movies a day. Like, all of the stuff that's set in 2044 is shot in like TV aspect ratio. Oh. And there's lots of stuff with her, like, it's like her face very close up, and there's like a teal carpet that like goes into blackness. And it looks like something from like a TV show, like the Krypton Factor or something, when they do like an interview segment.
Oh, you think everything is like the Krypton Factor?
I just love the Krypton Factor, Raz. I'm trying to get everyone into it. But I think...
What is that movie? What's that movie where... I'm very... I haven't slept enough. What is the movie with the guy who beat up that guy at university? John Hamm.
Oh my God.
What is the movie where the robot movie he's in, Marjorie Prime?
I've not seen Marjorie Prime.
Marjorie Prime is it's based on a stage play. Ooh. Okay.
Well, this one's based on a Henry James short story, kind of inexplicably.
Around the year 2050, 85-year-old Marjorie is experiencing the first symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. To bring her comfort, her daughter Tess and son-in-law John hire a service called Prime, designed to assist Alzheimer patients by creating holographic projections of deceased family members, which are fed with the patient's memories so they can retell them back in case they forget them. Marjorie has chosen a younger version of her late husband, Walter, who died 15 years ago.
Hell yeah.
This choice disturbs Tess, as she does not trust the system's functionality, so she does not talk to Walter's hologram. Marjorie tells stories of her life to Walter Prime and enjoys listening to him tell them back, usually asking him to embellish some to make them better and prettier the next time he tells them, so that the new story will become her new memory. Meanwhile, Julie, Marjorie's caretaker, moves in with the family to watch over her and confides in Walter.
Imagine this on the stage.
Oh, yuck. So that movie was still good.
Well, I think The Feast is really good, and largely because it's like really dumb when it like, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's about, you know, that makes more sense if you know who Schoenberg is, but then there's also stuff where it's like consulting a medium on the internet, and then the medium is like, in the future they will prove past lives to be real, and you're like, oh yeah, that is what happens in this movie. Like, yeah, true.
So what do you think that you could like put this in like a... Okay, if we like curate... We do a curation.
Okay.
We could have those 2 movies, The Beast, Marjorie Prime.
I would put AI.
Oh my God.
Yep. I would put the Canadian television movie of Ursula K. Le Guin's The Lathe of Heaven.
Okay. I was going to go much more straightforward with this.
And I would put Alphaville. Well, it just reminded me so much of The Lathe of Heaven. I felt like I needed to bring it up.
Second question. What's going on with French-Canadian directors?
I don't think this guy is French-Canadian. I think he's just French.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine then.
I think originally it was going to be a French production and everyone was going to be French. And then I think they like secured French-Canadian funding and they're like, all right, we'll get some like...
Yeah, I think that happens
ginger
quite a lot.
British boy to be the lead. Okay, wait, one more thing about The Beast.
Yes.
I know I have a friend and listener who, whenever Leah Sadu comes up, is always like, oh, I don't know how she manages to get naked in every single movie that she's in. She doesn't get fully naked in this, but she does strip down to a 1911 slip and then get totally wet.
I think for me,
lots of shots of her swimming underwater.
For
Bosom
me,
leg.
it didn't really make sense when she was naked in that Wes Anderson movie about the newspaper.
That's a movie. I didn't walk out of that because I was watching it at home, but I could not make it through that. I hated it so much.
I saw it twice.
Damn. Division in the pod.
Wes Anderson newspaper movie.
The Dispatch. The French Dispatch.
The French Dispatch. Okay. Yeah, she was like the only person who was nude in that movie.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people in it. What's the one that she's in where she was like having an affair and it's just like really depressing and her dad's dying?
I don't know.
One Fine Morning.
I haven't seen that one.
She is nude in that one.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because it's like it's a romance.
Maybe it's in her contract. That would be the coolest. That'd be the coolest
That would be
contract
so
clause.
cool. She signed a petition to Macron to recognize Palestine.
What a lady.
What a minge. She's not naked in Midnight in Paris.
Is she in that? Oh, I've erased that film from my mind.
Yeah, sorry to our listener who hates that movie with unrivaled passion.
So many listenership. This is really a people focused pod. You know, we're doing it for the listeners.
I know like 2 listeners,
Yeah.
and Amelia knows like 15.
And then the rest of you, email us. cinemabingbong@gmail.com.
But I'm the last month the podcast has expanded. It's grown. It's experiencing a growth period.
It's fantastic.
So that's good because I feel like, do you have like a number that you want?
1,000.
Do you have like a 1,000
Yeah.
per episode?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted 100, and I got it. So
That's baby shit. I want 1,000. Don't just tell your friends. Tell your like cousins.
I wanted. I think that like, if it was less than 50, I would be like, "What are we doing?
Yeah.
This is terrible. Like, this is
That's how I feel about less than 1,000.
Well, but then I got 100, so I was like, 100 whole people listening to us. It's amazing.
It's
but not good enough for some.
It's deeply gratifying to some degree.
To
Rebecca,
some people.
You've written down a list of like 20 films that you watched recently.
No.
Do you want to go? Do you want to talk about what?
Look, Amelia, I just wrote.
You saw Eagle vs. Shark.
No, then that's really rude of you to read the last one. So I just wrote down, I just listed every movie that I've seen since we last recorded the podcast, which was actually more than a month ago. It was like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to talk about all of them.
Okay.
But I was going to say that like I just did not like Shiva Baby.
Okay, fair enough. I thought it was fine. I saw it like several years ago, so I don't fully remember.
It's just a movie about a woman who's like stressed out by her parents.
Yeah.
And also this guy is like really annoying.
Yep.
And Hayden Panettiere is there.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically.
Oh, is that the right person? Oh man, I'm just really struggling today. It's not. No, it's the other one. The Glee one.
You're on your own here, kid.
Who's the blonde woman from Glee? Diana Agron. She's there.
That didn't elevate Shiva Baby for you?
No. Is that also like... Because like, I was kind of like Glee. It's just Diana Agron like being cheated on for no reason and like being left holding this baby. She was in Berlin, I Love You. That was pre-podcast recording.
That was we were talking about the I Love You series. If anyone wants to make an Auckland I Love You, hit us up. I've never directed anything. I directed a music video once. I'll happily do a segment.
I only directed a play.
You saw Fallen Leaves, finally. Which we
Yeah,
talked
but
about
so
before.
like what the point was, my point was going to be that I saw like 4 of these. What? I saw like 4 of these like 6 weeks ago in like one night.
Okay.
And so I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, Fallen Leaves I thought was fine.
Oh, okay.
It was like the other ones. But see, the thing is,
The
is that
enthusiasm's really waned since we
I'm
did the little...
so tired.
Okay.
I slept for 4 hours. I got woken up. I like couldn't sleep till like 8:30, and then I got woken up by my mum saying, "Aren't you supposed to be recording your podcast?"
Oh, thanks, Julie. Shout out.
And then Amelia had technical problems for like 3 hours.
Yes. It's been very cold in Melbourne, which has kind of broken everything in my house, including the internet and the recorders. They won't play in tune.
Yeah, I'm not being negative about Fallen Leaves. I just thought it was like solid.
Okay, sick.
But the thing was that I was going to go to Finland.
Yes.
And
now
then I saw-
now you're not.
And then I saw Fallen Leaves and I was like, you know what?
No, Rebecca. Can we go to Finland? I want to go to Finland. Let's go on a holiday.
we
to
can go to
Finland.
Finland. But so the situation was that I sort of had like 5 days where I could go somewhere in Europe by myself this July.
Yes.
Or August. Because of other commitments. And then when I watched Fallen Leaves, I was like, I don't think I want to go to Finland by myself again. I've already been to Finland by myself.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I decided not to. And it would be expensive as well. I was like, it's not the right time. It's, everyone's alcoholic. They've all got work at the shop unless they've been fired
Damn.
for eating expired yogurt.
in their little vests.
Yeah. So now I'm going to go to Paris.
Je t'aime.
Oh my god. And I saw Bring It On at $5 Wednesday.
Let's hear it for the 5-time national cheerleading champions, the Mighty Toros!
Bang, bang, choo-choo train. Let me see you do your thing.
You are cheerleaders. Cheerleaders are dancers who have gone
I
retail.
saw Bring It On and I was like, I keep like recurringly being like really emotional about how things used to be.
Like Bring It On, how it's a certified classic.
Yeah, it's a classic. I just like missed. I missed like I hate the. Have you read that essay this week about phone slang?
No? What? No?
Oh well, it really like. It's really like what I've been feeling is that the essay was just about how like slang used to sort of signify that you were part of like a group,
Yes.
and the way that you spoke used to like signify like a lot about you.
Yes. And now it signifies that you spent too much time on Twitter.
Yeah, there's just, or even you met someone, or like you're on TikTok, or people who are on TikTok, or whatever.
Yeah?
Yeah, and so now it like doesn't really mean anything across the whole world.
That's really depressing.
Yeah, and then I was like really emotional because I saw a sign at the rugby that said hot dogs and American hot dogs. And I was like, this is the culture that we're losing. Because now everybody talks like they're an American teenager.
Oh, hot dogs and American hot dogs. Well,
Should we like explain to like
oh yeah,
I think
to
like
people-
half of our listeners are not from New Zealand, but I don't know how many of them are New Zealanders who live in other countries.
Okay, so
But if anyone's listening who doesn't know what a hot dog is,
yeah, so a hot dog, a true hot dog, it's a sausage on a skewer, and it's been like deep fried and batter.
not a skewer, a popsicle stick.
Oh yeah, sorry, it's been a long time since I had a hot dog. Yeah, on a on a popsicle stick, and it's been like deep fried and batter.
Yeah.
And an American hot dog is it's got the bun and the mustard and things.
Yeah. And in America, they call the hot dog corn dog.
What? Is that what a corn dog is?
Yeah, it's a hot dog.
But where's the corn?
I don't know. I don't know if the batter's made out of corn or if it's like in corn syrup or it's just the shape of a corn cob.
Oh, it is a bit like a corn cob.
Yeah.
Rebecca,
Wow.
I'm gonna do a great segue right now. You ready? Speaking of I fucked it up. Speaking of how things were in the past, I saw a movie that felt just like it had come from like 2007. Mm-hmm. I saw The Fall Guy.
In 3, 2, 1, action. So good.
Oh, good.
Shot to the heart, and you're too late, darling. You give love a bad name.
Anyone but him. I didn't approve him. You know that. You are literally the last person on earth I want to see slap the shit out of you. I really could.
And I'm open to that in a safer environment.
Which is like...
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, which is a new movie that is essentially like a mid-2000s action comedy. Yeah, it's got Ryan Gosling. He's a stuntman, and he's in love with Emily Blunt, who's a director, and they're filming a film in Australia, and then some baddies come, and Ryan Gosling has to use his stuntman skills to get away from the baddies.
Oh, I got mixed up again. I thought you were talking about Hitman.
No, I haven't seen Hitman yet.
Okay.
No, The Fall Guy. Yeah, and so The Fall Guy is basically like the... It's directed by David Leitch, who did Bullet Train and like some other... Oh, he did Nobody. Okay. He's done some other action-y things, but it's just really like... He was like, how can I fit as many stunts as possible in a movie? Okay, what if it's about a stuntman doing stunts and then his stunts get interrupted by having him do real-life stunts to defeat baddies who are also doing stunts? It was really fun, and it felt like the superhero movie era never happened, and we were just kind of like picking up where we left off.
We just like picked up where we left off. Yeah, I've been thinking that about like TV programs sort of like getting over their sort of COVID era.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. Like even the music, it plays like The Darkness and stuff. I was like, oh, okay. And it's not set then. It's just like they're in 2024 or whatever and they're listening to The Darkness.
Sorry, I got distracted.
Do you believe in a thing called love?
No.
Shit.
Okay, a corn dog is more like what I would call a Korean hot dog.
Oh, Korean hot dog. I've not had...
it has like a really thick, like bready sort of outside, whereas like the New Zealand one is like battered.
Okay.
And in South Africa, they call them Yankees.
That's...
Okay,
Every culture has its hot dog.
But I wasn't finished talking about Bring It On.
Bang, bang, choo-choo track. Let me see you.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, is that I really liked seeing a teen movie that like had, you know, like obviously the actors were older than teenage, but like it just wasn't so like babyish as teen movies are now.
No, I've been thinking about this. I feel like YA has really
really done a fucking number on everything.
YA has kind of like eaten teenage stuff.
I read that like 3/4 of YA readers are older than 25.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense, and I feel like probably a lot of people who watched like Dude, Where's My Car or whatever were also older than that. But it's like it used to be that when you were like 12 or 13, there stopped being stuff for you, and you just had to start reading like books for 17-year-olds about like where someone would do drugs or have sex. And now I feel like it's the opposite to that. It's like
yeah, you're like So yeah, it was like great to see a movie where like 17 to like 18-year-olds are like driving around and like having sort of like ethical issues and like having sex and stuff like that.
Being rude to people.
So, and their parents are like not really involved.
Hell yeah.
Except when like there's a bit where Kirsten Dunst is like, Dad, can we have like money from your company to like give to the impoverished Clover's cheerleading team? Like that sort of they're like, you know, parents are like, ugh, parents, shut up.
Oh, I love Bring It On.
They don't have to have like a, you know, it's not like fucking Love, Simon. You know, all of that stuff just like isn't happening. Like it did have there was a few moments in the film where people gasped because of the slurs and the fat phobia.
Oh, because you saw this at the cinema.
Yeah, I saw it at the cinema.
Hell yeah.
It was great. Yeah, I mean, like, aside from, but it was like also interesting that like all the bits where I was like, oh, like everyone in the audience was like, oh, fuck. Some of it was like pretty extreme, and I was like, oh, yeah, I like forgot about like that aspect of what it was like to like live in 2000. People were slurring left, right, and center, and like slurs that I've like just totally forgotten about as well. Like, oh my god, I can't call someone that. But yeah, I like
watching old movies to recover our historic slurs.
Yeah, it's like difficult. Yeah, because I'm like supposed to be writing this book that's set, you know, in the past. I'm like, oh damn, like, I can't make it that realistic because it would just be full of slurs.
Oh, get bent, you puffter, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just I don't want to. Yeah,
oh,
I don't want to say
you lick the
them all.
toilet seat, egg.
Oh, you can tell that you got dropped on your head.
Oh, Rebecca licks the kumara. Did you have that one as a kid?
No, what's that?
I don't know. I never really understood what was so bad about that.
There was a lot of like derogatory terms in year 6, it's like 2002, like based around the word bush.
Oh, we didn't get that.
Just like implying people's pubic hair was just out of control.
I feel like I may have mentioned this on the pod before, but the one from my primary school that I didn't realise was exclusive to St Mary's Primary was penis popper.
Yeah, I knew that before.
Yeah, penis popper.
What is that?
I don't know. I just, it's, you know, you popping the penises. Rebecca, was there any other films that you wanted to talk about before
I wanted to quickly talk about, oh yeah, and then so just continuing on from that, I watched, like Hunt for the Wilder People was on TV last night for Matariki, and I didn't know it had Troy Kingi and Stan Walker in it.
I don't remember them being in it, but
they were there.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a bit where Troy Kingi came in and was just like, oh, those fucking warriors.
Oh, you know, I do remember him. He's good. He's good in it.
Yeah, he's good. And then after that, I watched Eagle vs. Shark because there was a Letterboxd video where Lily Gladstone said that they first felt seen by Indigenous filmmaking when they saw Eagle vs. Shark.
Wow.
Which was quite shocking to me.
Did you feel that? I remember being quite let down by Eagle vs. Shark.
I didn't. I saw it when it came out.
Yeah, me too.
And I liked it. I saw it on Nightline. That's why I found out about it.
Okay.
Found out, New Zealand doesn't have any news at night anymore.
Rap.
Do you know what they do instead? Now they've cancelled all the nightly news programs.
What?
They just put up a screenshot of the website.
Fuck off, really?
Yeah, so you're watching a TV program at 10 o'clock or whatever, and there's an ad break, and then they just put up a still of the one news headlines on the website because they got rid of the 10:30 news.
What a country. What a beautiful country.
What a fucking sick country.
Did you feel seen by Eagle vs. Shark?
No.
Okay.
No, at the time, no, I would never have thought of something like that. But watching it now, once again, this is what was carrying on from Bring It On. I felt depressed about the world that we grew up in that doesn't exist anymore. Except this was much more specific because it was in New Zealand.
Yes.
Just like sort of like stuff like sort of meeting someone and then like asking them if they want to go to a movie.
Yeah.
Or just like people sitting around like on the deck.
I think people still sit around on the deck, Rebecca.
No one I know sits around on the deck. But I mean like sitting around like talking to each other and like one person's like reading a newspaper.
Oh, true.
No one's looking at their phone.
Good shit. Not a phone in sight. Just
There's not a phone in
human
sight.
Interaction.
And just having like a hula hoop. Just like, yeah, just sort of like stuff like that. And
Not
then
the angles I was expecting when you were like, I missed the part. When, you know, we had hula hoops and people would read the newspaper.
No, the other thing that I was going to say was that I remember, like, when I watched this movie when I think I was 15.
Okay.
It felt, at the time, it felt possible to, like, write and direct a movie in New Zealand.
Yes. Nah, not anymore. Not unless you're American.
Yeah, not unless you're American, and then you bring a whole bunch of Americans to play all the lead characters in your film set in New Zealand, and then we'll sort of like do the background acting.
Yeah.
Like in Megan. I mean, various films, but that was the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, or like...
Now, it like doesn't... Yeah, I was like, at the time I was watching this, I was like, I could write a movie.
And now?
And it could get made. Now I don't even think that. Now I don't even think that as someone who like has like a US film agent.
Yeah.
And like has an unanswered email about like meeting a producer and stuff. I just don't think so.
No. Yeah, I can't imagine Eagle vs. Shark getting made. I need to go back and watch this film again because the reason that I was disappointed when I first saw it is that I was like, oh look, it's the lads from the Concords.
Oh, right.
This is gonna be a fun romp. And it's actually quite a depressing film.
Yeah, it's a pretty depressing movie.
And so I just remember being like majorly bummed out and then also annoyed at the thing where they keep getting the lyrics to Let's Dance by David Bowie wrong. I was just like, this is just annoying to me. But maybe now.
Yeah, I don't think
I've
that you
grown.
would think that watching it now, yeah. But like just even all the stuff like, oh, we're going to a party tonight and then just being in someone's garage.
Mean.
I was like, oh man, like none of this happens anymore. It's like $10 to catch the bus.
Damn.
You know, maybe people are doing stuff like this and they just...
And we're just not invited?
We're not invited, but also they don't post about it either. Because we would still know if people...
Yeah. No one talks about it, doesn't... Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's like an Eyes Wide Shut type society, but for doing like West Auckland garage parties.
One of the like... Yeah, I like don't think this movie would be made now, and it also like made me feel depressed about the career of Taika Waititi. And then I was like, is he the only person to have ever peaked in Wellington?
I reckon him and maybe like the New Zealand composer Douglas Lilburn. I think he peaked in Wellington. In his little synth studio. Well, so part of the reason why Rebecca has seen so many more films than I have recently is that I've been jet-setting around the world from Australia to New Zealand and back again, and then that also again. But it gave us the chance to meet up in real life and go to a movie together.
Oh, I see.
So me and Rebecca saw Furiosa, and now I'm going to cut to us in the past, live in Auckland City, to discuss our experiences of the film. Over to you, Amelia.
Over to you, Field Amelia.
Over to you, Field Amelia.
Yeah, thanks, Amelia, in the studio. This is Amelia at Event Cinema Queen Street. I'm here with Rebecca.
Hello.
Also at Event Cinema Queen Street, in the same place. We're just picking up our tickets for...
Furiosa.
Rebecca's bus was 10 minutes late. What have I been doing? I went to Pythie and I got one of their breakfast pies. It's a pie, it's got a whole hash brown. We've got ticket. Okay, cool.
What, are you confused by the cinema?
I've never used such a machine as this.
Okay, so the situation is that I have the Event Cinemas app,
Yeah.
and so I booked the tickets. They were $12 because it's... What were the letters?
Mang. or something.
MOW.
Yeah.
It was an MOW film, which is...
Members only wanking.
Movie of the week.
Movie of the week, sorry.
Yeah, okay, so I had the app. It was Movie of the Week, so it was $12. You buy it in the app, and then you print it off using a QR code on a giant sort of electronic wall. Amelia was going to buy the tickets on the website for $26.
I almost got swindled, folks. And this is the kind of... I feel like this is the kind of detail you only get from a live, in person.
And me. I always give these kind of details.
Sorry, yeah, it's the kind of details that you only get from Rebecca.
Do you want to buy anything?
Not really. I feel a bit sick after my breakfast pie.
I might buy a $6 Chop Top or something.
Hell yeah.
I do have a 400ml bottle of Coke in my pocket that I bought.
You can't say that in the lobby.
That I bought when I went to Inside Out, and then I didn't drink it.
Oh, okay, so it's legit.
Yeah.
It's movie certified.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it from St. Pierre's.
Hell yeah. This is the real Mad Max shit.
I don't remember what happens in the first Mad Max, though, and I didn't have time to look it up.
Doesn't matter. It's Australian. I think we'll figure it out.
Okay, I just want to...
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now. We're now sat in the cinema, and the seats we've chosen are much closer to the screen than we anticipated. Rebecca's furious. She's become Furiosa.
I'm going to look in the app and see which seats are available.
Alright, my update later. Yep. So the movie's over now. And couldn't record straight out afterwards because we had to have a big long conversation about pissing. And I didn't think the listeners would be interested.
And also in the cinema lobby, there was...
they're blasting Justin Timberlake.
They're blasting Justin Timberlake in front of a really big cardboard cutout of challenges.
Yeah.
And a Twisters poster and a deserted bar.
It was very zeitgeisty.
Yeah, it was zeitgeisty. It was a thin place.
It was a thin...
Or a thick place, or...
No, it was a thin place. Don't be silly, Riz. So, Rebecca, what did you think of Furiosa?
I don't know what happened in the movie.
So, Furiosa, the new Mad Max film, directed by the one and only George Miller. Furiosa is a young girl who belongs to an isolated community in one of the last places with trees and water. Yeah. When some raiders chance upon her special peach grove, that's cheeks chilly. What? Don't laugh, Rebecca. That's what happens. She is kidnapped. Her mother comes to try to save her and gets killed, and then the rest of the movie is like she kind of grows up in the Badlands and the Wasteland, and then she becomes like a top driver, and she has to hunt down the man who killed her mum. That's what happened in the movie.
Like, that was some of the stuff that happened in the movie.
I don't want to spoil. I don't want to be like, and here's what happened at the end of the movie.
No, I mean, like, if that was what happened in the movie, it would be a lot better movie.
Yeah.
But there were, like, maybe 40 other characters. And what were they doing? I don't know.
Well, you see, the mayor, he was wearing a special suit. I think there was a...
The mayor was the one with the fucked up foot, right?
No, the mayor was the one with the suit. And he had the gas mask hanging off his dick. And he had a fake nose.
Yeah, he had one of his feet was like 3 times bigger than the other foot.
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
It's funny how when someone's got a gas mask on their dick, It draws attention away from other. That could be a little. That could be a little fashion tip for anyone. For any of the listeners.
And if you're like dick focused, I'm not gonna pick up on it. I didn't notice that.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. I think we're taking away different things from the movie. There was Immortan Joe. That was the guy with the plastic body armor.
Oh yeah, I was very focused on the plastic.
He's the baddie from the previous movie.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
So he becomes the baddie.
Yeah,
because the previous movie is after this movie.
Yes, he's kind of a secondary baddie in this one. It's like, yes, he's keeping a prison full of beautiful women, but we're not focusing on that now.
Yeah, we wouldn't absolutely not focusing on the prison of beautiful women.
We
saw them for like 2 minutes.
Not important. The Prison of Beautiful Women, different film. What we're focusing on this movie is populist demagogue. What is his name? Desolatio or something? Destructo? I should know this. We literally just came out of the movie.
I mean, I totally knew what it was until you said all those things.
I feel like it was like Demento.
Dementus?
Dementus.
It was not Demento.
And he's played by which Hemsworth?
Liam?
Could be. It's hard to tell. He's wearing a fake nose.
Yeah, he's wearing a fake nose. And a lot of people say that Bradley Cooper is equally as cancelable as everyone else in the Oscars selfie.
Wow.
But, no one's...
no one's trying to cancel old Hemsworth. He was having a great time in this.
Yeah. But it was very confusing that there was the Citadel.
Yeah.
There was Gastown.
Yes.
There was the...
Bullet Farm. They got title cards saying that which number Wasteland Citadel they were.
Yeah, and they were sort of... There was factions.
Yes.
But I don't know sort of why or who was in each faction or what their purpose was in fighting each other.
So Rebecca, I think underlying a lot of this film is a warning against populism.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dementus, there's a lot of scenes where he's preaching and he's like, "Look, I'm going to give everyone what they want.
Yeah.
I'm going to give everyone oil and bullets and food."
Yeah, there was some populism. That made sense.
Yeah, but it was ultimately his downfall because not only did he want to take control of all of the locales, but he also had built an uneasy coalition. And so his men often rebelled against him.
But it was also really difficult to tell between which group of men, and there was one woman was which, because they often didn't have different costuming or whatever.
Yeah.
And then some people would show up with really distinctive look, and then they would sort of be maybe a third of that group, and you're like, how come they look different? The visual language was perplexing.
Yeah, I think the thing that I found confusing.
Yeah.
While we're talking on the perplexing parts of the movie, most of the movie, to be fair, so that he's got this prison full of women, right? Special women prison.
That seemed like something that would have made a lot of sense.
Yes.
To talk about
more. To talk about more. Yes, and there was a whole section of the film where Furiosa, Anya Taylor-Joy,
in the second half,
had escaped from the women's prison and was pretending to be a boy.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't talk.
It was a Mulan.
It was a Mulan situation.
Jean d'Arc.
Yes. Far out. Yes.
I'm going to France next month.
Yeah, you're going to France. Jean d'Arc. I was like, who the fuck's Jean d'Arc?
I'm just I found out today that my favorite Olympian didn't qualify.
Oh no.
Aung San, who is a gold medalist in archery, and she faced a massive backlash in South Korea in the Tokyo Olympics for having short hair.
Okay.
And so they all hated Aung San, even though she was a gold medalist. She prevailed and like got the gold anyway, and she was like super cool, and she didn't qualify.
So many parallels here with Furiosa.
Yeah.
The cutting of the hair, the prevailing but not prevailing.
But yeah, so that was like a very confusing part in Furiosa, was that she sort of like Mulan'd.
Yes, but then at a certain point, she stopped doing that.
Yeah.
And no one was like, "You're a woman," even though there were two other women characters that weren't in the women's prison.
There was like a bit where her sort of like love interest was like, "Oh,
Ooh.
you're a woman." But he didn't say anything.
No.
And then there was a bit where they were like, Furiosa, there you are. Like,
yeah, and
they met her for like an hour.
Like it was them old mate, Furiosa.
They locked her in the beautiful women room. Someone came to assault her, and then she escaped. And then they didn't see her for 15 years.
No.
And then they were like, just like, yeah, there you are, Furiosa. Come in the war room, and we'll have a bit of a chat about Demento.
G'day, sis. You look like you've been in the wars.
Can we talk about the accents?
Everyone has an Australian accent.
Except
Furiosa.
Except
played by
Furiosa.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
She does an American accent.
But specifically, she does an impression.
She does an impression of Charlize Theron.
Yes.
And so I found this confusing because Anya Taylor-Joy is Argentinian, but she has a British accent because she went to private school in the UK. Charlize Theron is South African.
Yes, absolutely.
The movie is set in Australia and everyone else has an Australian accent. Except a lot of them don't have a normal Australian accent. They put on the accent of an Australian performing Shakespeare.
Some of them do that, and then some of them put on a Bogan accent.
And then it's like really jarring, like visually, because there's a lot of like older, like rough looking guys.
Yes.
And then sometimes people are like full on Bondi face.
True, absolutely. I found that. Look, Rebecca, I don't want to keep this in the street segment too long in case the audio is shit and we actually just have to redo it all. So I think quickly I want to go through what I really didn't like about the movie and the things I did like about the movie.
Okay. Can I say first that the worst part of the movie for me was when that guy said potatoes like that.
Why? That was your least favourite part?
Yeah, they were like, we will give you... They were like... So they were doing an Australian accent with a theatre affectation. And the line was something like, we will give you 1/3 of the water and 1/3 of the potatoes and then 1/3 less of the titty milk.
Yes.
It was like that.
Yeah, it was like that. And that was your least favourite part.
Yeah. I didn't like it when they said titty milk. I didn't like it when they said potatoes. And I didn't like that they put on this hard tea.
Okay. All right. For me, some of the most profoundly ugly cinematography I've ever seen.
But it was so Australian.
It was very Australian. It was like, it was very Baz Luhrmann's Australia to me, actually.
I haven't seen that.
It looks like this. Like everything is kind of... I'm not saying all of the film was, but I think especially at the start where all the colours were really cranked up, I just didn't like to look at it. And then at the very end of the film, they show shots from Fury Road in the credits, and it's like astonishing how much nicer they look.
Yeah, even though it was shot 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But the aesthetics of Australia I was finding like very confronting in a way. Because like in the first scene, everyone is like... So this is like in the sort of like Canberra where Furiosa was born with all these women. They are all fucking dressed like they got all their clothes at Seed or like Trenery or like Witchery or something. It's like they bought their clothes in an Australian mall and they've all got a haircut like Courtney Barnett.
Yes.
And so it was like the modern Australian aesthetic was for some reason like very hard like in the first 10 minutes. And then that all like flew away, and then the rest was like cover of a Paul Jennings book. And like
I would say Dementis' gang was very round the twist
coded, and then just sort of like Australian music videos like from the 70s.
Yeah,
it was like this is the sound of Australia, and I've been to I think 4 of the state galleries of Australia. And I was like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah, this is the aesthetic of Australia.
And it was very like bush mechanics as well.
For me, it was more the things like, and this is my number one most hated thing in modern films. I don't know if I've told you this, Rebecca. CGI dogs.
Oh, there was a CGI lizard.
Just get a dog. Just get a dog. I understood the lizard. I'm like, you can't just get a lizard necessarily to do what you want. You can get a dog to jump off a truck.
I even know from like before coming to this
You got personal
movie
experience trying to get a lizard to do what you want.
do what I wanted.
And also the day for night stuff at the start. It was just like, oh, we put a blue filter over it. It's nighttime.
They
now.
were like, it was like the filter would like go across the screen, sort of, and they were like sped up. There was like, and like cutouts, like superimposed, like of different scenes and stuff.
And like sometimes I love that shit. Like Speed Racer is like my most favorite movie ever. I didn't really see what it was doing.
Yeah.
It was just like, I just had to look at it.
I was just like, oh.
And it was like, I'm very impressive. And I'm like, so I didn't like that.
I was just like, oh, this is like being back at the State Gallery of WA.
Yeah.
And watching like a 3-minute video without putting the headphones on of like a guy playing that. Oh, it's like I found out that like the one that they normally play isn't actually called didgeridoo. It's called something else, but I don't know.
Oh, because the didgeridoos they're like the smaller ones, right?
Yeah, it's the smaller one. It'll be like a guy playing one of those like superimposed over like a shot of people lining up for the dole or something.
Yes.
I was like, this is what we're seeing in this movie, is like that aesthetic that I don't think you like see in cinema.
No.
Or like, I mean like in mainstream cinema.
Yeah, and I think often when we say like, it's this aesthetic, and you don't usually get to see that in cinema. We're like, and so that's cool that you get to do it.
Yeah, it's cool.
I didn't care for it,
but it's not a good aesthetic.
No.
And then I was just spending a lot of time in there, like thinking about like what Australia is good and bad at.
Yeah.
I was like, because Australia produces like, I think even objectively, the best reality television in the world.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Like I mean, this is like a popular belief of like within reality fan communities, is that
apart from Taskmaster.
Yeah, not the comedy ones, not the comedy ones, but like people love.
I wish everyone got to see the look on Rebecca's face.
No, ignore that. Like Maths Australia, Alone Australia, and like Australian Survivor and MasterChef Australia.
Yeah.
Incredibly popular, like across the board.
Of course.
Much more watchable than American versions, and I think that like the like sort of Australian culture of, to some extent, like being supportive of each other and stuff is just like a lot more watchable to a lot of people, and they're also like amazing at casting and editing.
Yes.
But can they make a good movie?
Well, I think the frustrating thing about it is if I had seen it without ever having seen Fury Road, I would be like, oh, they made like a slightly latter-day Baz Luhrmann action movie, and it was okay. But having seen Fury Road, it's like, how did you forget how to do all the stuff you did so well?
I don't know.
Some really terrible ADR as well. Did you notice that?
Yes, it's like when her mother said goodbye to her, that was like the worst. And I couldn't remember the acronym for it.
Yeah, and but just also for me,
she's like, Furiosa, remember the stars, come back to where you were born. and then her mouth is like moving at a different time.
I also just found because I feel like a good Mad Max, everything has a kind of legendary quality.
Yeah.
I found the kind of monologues in this a bit just naff.
It was very, like, stagey.
It was really stagey, and it's like, I don't think this is spoiling the movie, but there was the classic scene of, like, if you kill me, you become like me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, George, I've seen an anime. Like,
but it was very much...
But I was just like, I just can't believe this is happening at this point in the movie.
The presentation of it was, like, really... sort of like took me back to like high school acting, where you're like, what you're focused on is remembering all the words. It felt like that. It felt like recalling a speech, being like, if the crows are to peck my eyes out today, what will that mean for you and your future? The moments we have shared.
Yeah. Okay, things I liked about the movie.
This world takes a toll on you.
I thought anytime they were driving in a car was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool, especially because I know that Anya Taylor-Joy does not know how to drive.
That's funny. Yeah, I think all of the, like... Because, yeah, I was hoping there would actually be more of it. But, like, yeah, all of
Yeah,
the
I
stuff
thought it was
where
gonna
they're
be more
driving in a big car and then people are trying to climb on the car and they have to, like, shoot them with a gun and then everything's exploding. That shit was still fucking mean. That was ace. I loved that. I also thought when you finally get up to the bit where she loses her arm, because if you remember...
Yeah, because you're like, I'm pretty sure she didn't have an arm.
Yeah, when you finally get up to that, that was like the shot that they have of like the arm.
Yeah, she's
fucking-
gone and her arm is still there.
I was like, this is
That was a good shot.
This is movies. I love the arm. Yep.
Like another Australian aesthetic iconography that I wasn't expecting there to be in there was like the leather shop. You know, Australia has like a lot of sort of like 90s leather shops.
Yeah.
And everyone was wearing like 3 to 4 belts.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Oh,
no
do you want
one
to buy
had
a tooled belt?
Yeah, no one had the hat, but that's okay.
No. Like, if you're driving so much, you can't wear the hat.
Fine.
And that was what I liked about the movie, basically. Which, I mean, to be fair, is like quite a lot of the movie.
It was like a good use of the landscape.
Yes.
I have driven from Uluru to Alice Springs,
Yeah.
and that's what it's like,
Yes.
except without the killing.
Yeah.
And there were more like dust storms, actually.
Okay. I think my closing remarks.
Okay.
You look shocked.
No, I'm trying to drink this Coke
Okay.
at the same time. I'm just like the concept of saying these are my closing remarks. We're like in the middle of the street outside the gym.
Oh yeah, we tried to go somewhere like more quiet, but still where you could hear street sounds, so it made sense that it was like a live recording. And we went upstairs in this mall, and there was just a gym.
Yeah, they paved
Paradise.
They paved the arcade and turned it into a City Fitness.
And it was like there were 2 extra floors, but you couldn't go into them because it was all City
City
Fitness.
Fitness now.
It's fucked.
How are you supposed to have like a sort of like flirty like
Can't.
evening? I know
No.
you can't.
No,
As
you
if
can't.
there's no arcade above.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh, Dementus is here.
It's not a good sentence because it's above it was an arcade above an arcade.
Yes.
As in a shopping.
It was an arcade above a pedestrian mall.
Yeah, there we go.
It was a fun centre.
Yeah.
I saw.
Fun centre?
It was a fun centre.
It was in an amusement area.
Yeah, people call it that, I think. Closing remarks for me, I think. I didn't see anyone on the internet who was talking about this film mention Baz Luhrmann's Australia, despite them being real. I think that feels like the touchstone for me.
I feel like all I saw about this movie was people complaining about the box office numbers.
People were really
And-
sad that people didn't love this movie.
And Australians saying, yeah, this is what Australia is like, as like a joke.
Yes, although it is like
It is
that.
is kind of like that.
Yeah, but not in the way that you might think.
And they also knew all the actors, but I didn't know all the actors.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the mayor was the mayor from Sea Change, but I'm going to have to look that up.
Okay.
Usually we have like facts.
Yeah, usually we're not in the street.
We have facts and figures, but I don't.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know who any of these people are. And then I was like, what's an Australian movie that I've even seen? Muriel's Wedding?
Well, I'm pretty sure that the mayor guy was in the castle. Maybe he wasn't. Fuck, I'm going to look like such a doofus. Suddenly I don't know
I
anything
can't even
about
think of like
movies.
any other
'Cause they're
Australian movies. Top End.
Strictly
Top
Ballroom.
End Wedding? Something like that.
Muriel's Wedding?
No, there's a one about a woman who is marrying a white guy and she like runs back to Northern Territory
Oh, okay.
to find her mum or something.
Have you seen Death in Brunswick?
No.
Have you seen Elfin Purple?
No, I've seen
Have
that.
you?
Do you remember like a few years ago that trailer that was like about like Russian refugees in Australia, and
Yeah.
it was like a girl who like works in a clothes shop.
Okay.
That trailer, I've never seen the movie, but the trailer was on like constant. I think it must have been like 2020 or something. There was like nothing else to show us. And I remember in the trailer they're like, she's a refo, you know.
I will say, if people do want to watch Australia, because I've actually seen quite a few Australian films, but they're mostly like extremely dodgy budget films from like the early
Right.
70s called things like Hellstone. If you want to watch movies like Hellstone, I don't think that's a real movie, highly recommend Brolly, the streaming service brought to you by Umbrella Distribution. It's a free streaming service, and it's Brolly, and it's full of Australian exploitation films, and also like The Love Witch for some reason.
People are constantly talking about Canopy. You know, whenever anyone like complains about any kind of like access to streaming or whatever, people are like, "Oh, well, you should just use Canopy. It's free." My library card number is like faulty or something. I don't know. It won't work. I was like, used to use the library. One day went to log in and it was like, that doesn't exist. And I am too embarrassed to go into the library and state my full name for them and say that my library card hasn't worked for like 4 years.
Yeah, I started the process of getting an Auckland library card just before I left.
Yeah.
Because I just buy books if I want to read a book.
Yeah. You support local industry.
That makes me sound like I'm kind of swanky, but I'm just like, I just like things. I like to own things.
I don't like to own things, so the library is quite good for me, and I like need pressure or I don't do things.
But I was like, oh, you can do it all online. And then there was one point where it was like, now you have to go to the library. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I never did it.
I went into the library once and the woman was mean to me. And then the second time I went into the library, the librarian was this girl who was like, she like went out with my friend's ex at high school, and my friend like cyberbullied her really badly.
Fuck.
And I'm not friends with that person anymore. But it's like still weird because I was like 17. So I'm sure she remembers.
I mean, it's a little bit like the relationship between Dementis and Furiosa.
Oh my god.
All right, do you have any
No.
Okay.
No, that's it. Ow.
Wow, wasn't that an enlightening review of Furiosa?
I hope that it sounds okay.
It sounded all right when I checked it. I'm a lot louder than you are, but that's just true of real life. So
That's true. I mean, this is like one of the main technical issues with the podcast is that Amelia is much louder than
I've
me.
just got an extremely loud voice, and I can't really do anything about it. My beautiful fiance has come into the room and is nodding and giving a thumbs up to that. Thanks, Maddie. Loud voice, one of my best features.
My mum shushes me every day. And I don't have a loud voice. Every time we go anywhere, I'm just like talking at a normal volume and she's like, oh my God, like, what are you doing? Shh.
They're going to make one of those A24 horror movies about trauma about this, Rebecca.
A Quiet Place.
A shush place. So usually this is the bit of the pod where we like do like a game or a quiz. But Rebecca, you've proposed a kind of torture to take place now.
No, I didn't think so.
Do you want to?
I wanted to bond with the listeners.
Okay. Well, do you want to introduce our third segment?
Okay, our third segment. I'm not going to read the title that you wrote. The third segment was going to be 5 movies that you liked as a teen.
All right.
But Amelia's been traumatized by herself.
Yes. True. Correct.
And it's also blacked out the names of the films so I can't see them.
Well, you haven't even written your one, so I thought you wanted it to be a surprise. Okay.
Because I saw the blacked out box and then I wrote mine on the back of an envelope from my enemy, the German tax service.
Well, I've revealed mine. And how do you want to do this? Do you want to go one for one?
Yeah, go one for one. I'm not looking at yours, so that'll be a surprise.
Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
You start.
Okay, so
I don't know how hundies you're going to go.
My first movie that I liked as a teenager was A Mighty Wind, which it's a mockumentary about folk music. It's one of these Christopher Guest mockumentaries like Best in Show.
Everyone was so into mockumentaries at the time.
Yeah, everyone was so into mockumentaries, and the best to do it was old mate Christopher. I don't know why I couldn't say the name. I was literally looking at it written down. It was old mate Christopher Guest. So like him and Eugene Levy made these comedies like Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show and this one are kind of the best three. Spinal Tap's like related, but not with Eugene Levy. And my parents took me to see this at the Bridgeway when it came out in 2003.
It's a callback to the previous podcast.
It is a callback to the previous podcast, and it's about these aging folk revival musicians who were kind of big in the 60s, and they have to get back together because the guy who ran their label has died, and they have to do like a tribute showcase. And I can't imagine I knew that much at like age 12, 13 about like historic folk revival music, but I was obsessed with this movie, and we got it on DVD, and I watched it quite a lot, and I still love it. I watched it the other day and I cried.
Why did you cry though? Was it because you were mourning the past?
No, it wasn't. It's because it was so beautiful. So the kind of central people in the movie is like Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara are like, they used to be a duo. They used to be kind of like Sonny and Cher, Ian and Sylvia duo, except Eugene Levy is like kind of a Leonard Cohen, Phil Ox, like depressed, mentally unwell guy.
So
and then at the end of the movie, they sing their famous song about there being a kiss at the end of the rainbow, and then they do a kiss like they used to do in the stage show, even though she's married, so they can't be together. Spoilers.
Is Christopher Guest Canadian?
Is he Canadian? He's American English, I think, because he's actually a lord. Yeah. But no, I think he met Eugene Levy through, I guess, like SNL kind of stuff. Yeah. That's my first movie.
Okay.
A Mighty Wind. And I think it holds up, that one.
Do you want to say a movie that you hated?
When I was a teen?
Yeah.
When I was like, this was not when I was a teen. When I was like 12, my sister was babysitting me, and she was meant to get a movie for us to watch out from Video Easy, and she got out Schindler's List, which I did not enjoy. Which
that
actually made me very
upset. That happened to me at the same age with The Green Mile.
Damn.
I was watching The Green Mile at like a I don't want to give the background, but I was in Palmerston North.
Okay.
And I was supposed to be there for like 3 days, and then my dad was like, I've got some stuff to do, so and then so he went to Wellington, left me in Palmerston North with this family I didn't know.
Hell yeah.
And then all the other kids were playing Chicken on the Road, which was like not my vibe at all. So I stayed inside with the mother and watched The Green Mile, and I was like, can you tell me when the electrocution is over, because I like really hate electric chair stuff.
Yeah.
And then she told me it was over when it wasn't, for a joke. I was literally 12, and I was like very traumatized by that.
One thing that I wish that I still had is my sister's apology card to me, which had like a Google image picture of Goku on it, and it was like, sorry for making you watch Schindler's List.
And your sister is 8 years older than you, right?
Yeah. Oh God, I must have only been 10 then. But that really haunted me, and I never wanted to watch Schindler's List.
We had to watch it in year 13. It was our film study for English.
I didn't watch it till I was like 23 because I was so like messed up.
Oh my God.
Okay, what's your first movie?
My first movie is Being John Malkovich.
Oh, I saw that when I was a teenager.
I was like, I loved it.
Yeah,
I thought it was like so interesting, and it was like Cameron Diaz is in it, and she's like ugly.
Yeah,
that was very like revolutionary to me at the time, and just like the fact that John Malkovich was like a real guy, but I didn't know who he was.
Yeah, I also didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
that was actually another one that my sister got out from Video Easy, but that one I liked.
Yeah, I got it from Video Easy myself.
Independent woman.
Is an independent woman. No, you know what? I got it from Civic Video. There was a Video Easy and a Civic Video in the Glen Eden shops.
Yeah, that might have been from Blockbuster. There was one across the road from the Video Easy in Highbury.
Yeah, I never went to Blockbuster. I never lived anywhere that had a Blockbuster. But yeah, I really liked Being John Malkovich. And then this is how this whole topic came up. So I was talking to my friend about like, what boys did you like when you were a teenager at high school? And like, what boys did you think you sort of like had to settle for?
And you were going to settle for John Malkovich.
No, I was like talking about this, and then I was like, because my friend didn't know me as a 15-year-old, I was like, you have to sort of like imagine someone whose favorite movie was Being John Malkovich. And then when you like see teenagers like walking around and stuff, you're like, are they into Being John Malkovich? Like, was that weird or was that normal?
I think it was quite weird.
Yeah, it's quite weird, eh? Now people like, I Kissed a Girl. Kissing Booth, something. I don't know.
Do you know what was a really normal movie to like as a teen?
Is this a segue?
Yeah, this is my number 2. Mm-hmm. Donnie Darko. I thought Donnie Darko was the coolest shit I'd ever seen, and also I was like, wow, 80s music rules. And I think it's like fundamentally affected me in that way.
Oh no. You know what my situation is with Donnie Darko?
What?
Is that it was on C4, right?
Yeah, that's where I first saw it.
Yeah, I saw it on C4. This was like 2008, I think.
Yeah.
I saw it on C4. The next day at school, a boy explained the whole thing to me.
No.
And I was like, yeah, I saw it. I totally got it. And he was like, I don't think so. So then like what happens is he like wakes up and this like went on like for like an hour.
So the gelatinous tube represents
And then this like boy told me all about how he like really wants to like learn how to sing because he loved the Coldplay album Viva La Vida.
Oh my god.
And yeah, I was like, is this the best I can do? Is this it for old Raz?
What's your number 2 movie, Raz?
My number 2 movie was Amelie.
Oh, classic. I think we had this on DVD, and I don't know where it came from. I feel like everyone had this on DVD.
Yeah, I don't think everyone had it on DVD. Ugh. A stroke of people.
Allow me some hyperbole, please.
But we saw it in French class in year 9.
Hell yeah.
And like I just loved it. I thought it was so cool. And then obviously it got like turned into more of a pejorative by Tumblr. That was like a bad thing to like.
Yeah, I wrote an article for Flix that talked about this a little bit.
Okay.
Because the director made a bunch of like quite different kind of like weird like creepy
is it
movies.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet?
Yeah, Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
He made Delicatessen.
Yeah, so that I wrote an article about Delicatessen that talked a little bit about Amelie. Because it has this like reputation for being like unbearably twee, whereas all of his other movies are twee but are also kind of horrific.
Yeah, I also don't think that Amelie is that twee.
No, I think it's also kind of horrific and like a kind of like sad person.
Because the whole thing is that like the whole thing is that she's grown up totally alone because her mum like died praying for a brother for her.
Yeah, something like that.
And she like got hit by someone committing suicide off Notre Dame or something.
Oh, yeah, it's quite a weird, dark movie.
She grows up like totally alone, and then she like, just wants to like meet someone to be with, and then there's like this guy who is also like totally alone and was like really badly bullied at school and stuff, and then they like don't meet each other for ages because he's like a phone booth repairman. I don't think there's that. Like even recounting the plot now, it's not that twee.
No. It's just got cardigans and wistful music.
There's so much twee bullshit around in that era as well. Like
I know.
What's that movie like?
I feel like people think it's The Bird and the Bee, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not. It's not Pomplamoose. It's not.
They're still going. I keep getting
Submarine?
recommended there. Oh, true. People like Submarine though. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, next movie.
Okay, my next movie also has gained a little bit of a reputation for being twee. Royal Tenenbaums.
I didn't even write that down.
Yeah, so my brother got this DVD out from the Blockbuster because he thought it was going to be like Starsky and Hutch.
Oh my god!
And then he was a little bit disappointed, but I watched it like 4 times.
Which brother is this?
Kevin.
Okay.
He was big into Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I saw this when I had become like really obsessed with the Velvet Underground when I was like 14 or 15. And so it having like a Nico song in it, I was like, this movie gets me like no one else gets me. And I still think
it does hold up.
Yeah, because I find Wes Anderson's later films quite cloying, as was revealed previously.
As was revealed, even though I did like The French Dispatch, because I didn't like oh man,
Asteroid City.
Yeah, I didn't like Asteroid City.
Yeah, I didn't even really like the one about the big hotel that much. I
didn't like it either.
No, but Royal
and then,
Tenenbaums,
everyone was trying to cancel me because my favorite Wes Anderson film is The Darjeeling Limited.
Oh, you're cancelled, Raz.
And
you're
then
out.
and then there was a retrospective, and I secretly went to it by myself, and I was like, "This actually checks out."
Yeah,
I was like, "This is not racist, guys."
Oh, I couldn't possibly say, but I'll take your word for it.
It's one of those. Oh, you know what expression I hate?
What?
The sniff test.
I also hate that expression.
It's disgusting. Anyway, I watched it and I was like, this is a movie about some white Americans and all of who are on this like spiritual journey in India, and everyone else knows how stupid that is.
Yeah. Say what you want about Wes Anderson's weird attitude to race. He's not self-conscious about it, which I think kind of works in that one. I didn't think it worked in the dogs one.
Absolutely doesn't work in the dogs one. Isle of Dogs. I remember the name of something. But it does work here. The hospos. The staff on the train are like in the next carriage, like rolling their eyes about these people.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch that. Thanks, Rebecca.
So that's fine.
What's your that's fine. What's your number 3?
I'm just deciding what order to do. I was going to talk about this movie, What's Cooking.
What?
Yeah, the What's Cooking I got on a video from Save Mart.
Okay.
It's a 2000 film about Thanksgiving, and it's like one of those like multiple storylines movies.
Like an anthology film. Where it has lots of...
I don't know if that's the right word for it, because it like keeps switching between the different storylines.
Oh, that's unusual. I don't know what you call that. Like that episode of The Simpsons where they talk about all the stories in Springfield.
Yeah. It's like that, except it's about like all these different families like preparing a Thanksgiving dinner, and it has like a lot of shots that are from the perspective of their ovens.
Wow.
It's directed by Gorinda Chadha, the director of Bennett Like Becca.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the video that I got, I don't know why it was like this. Like, this is something that I can't even explain now, that it had the time code on the bottom.
Oh,
the whole time.
Well, I'm looking at the poster for this movie, and it's quite like disconcerting.
Why should I look at it?
Well, there's a turkey with a dynamite in it, and then everyone's looking into the...
Yeah, because they're like, oh, the family is like gonna explode.
Yeah.
But I do think that I was influenced by watching stuff like this and like Purge the Tim and stuff, where there's just like all these people doing various things.
Yeah. That feels very Rebecca. Core Rebecca. Yeah. People doing things.
And the Royal Tenenbaums as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Okay, to be very honest here, I don't know if I actually liked the Darjeeling Limited better than the Royal Tenenbaums, or if that was something that I sort of like made up as like a 15-year-old.
Okay.
To like not be too cliche.
Yeah. I mean,
but I haven't seen the Royal Tenenbaums for ages, so I like don't know. But people sometimes bring up the Royal Tenenbaums to me as like asking if that's like an influence of mine on my writing.
I think you guys just both like Salinger.
Yeah. The same like original influence, but like I don't mind it that much because, you know, a lot of the other stuff they throw at me is like unbearably twee. And you can't, it's like very difficult when people ask you like, are you influenced by this book or this TV show or whatever, and you're like, in your head you're like, no, I hate that.
No, that one's shit.
No, I actually think that's shit. Like, yeah. Oh, I watched it in lockdown, but like, because otherwise, like, what was I gonna do?
All right, is it time for movie number 4?
Yeah.
Roman Holiday.
Oh, yeah, you did love that.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I was really obsessed with Audrey Hepburn.
I met Amelia towards the tail end of this.
Yeah, I had a Breakfast at Tiffany's poster on my wall. Could not figure out how to watch Breakfast at Tiffany's. Could not find a DVD of it or anything. But God. Yeah, no, true. The poster much more available than the movie.
Yeah.
But there was like a 3-pack like DVD set that had Sabrina, Roman Holiday, and like one other one, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. And I just loved Roman Holiday. And I put this, the reason because I liked more than 5 films. The reason that I put this on
like more than 5 films
is because I was like, I was obsessed with old stuff. And I was watching old stuff. And I can't remember specifically which old stuff I saw when I was like, did I watch Billy Liar when I was a teenager, or did I watch that when I was like 21? Like,
yeah, that's why I didn't. Maybe we could do this again with a different time period, because like in this list I've specifically chosen things that I liked when I was sort of like 13 to 16.
Yes, yeah, that's also kind of what I've gone for. And so Roman Holiday is one that I know that I was watching then, because we had the 3-pack DVD. We also had one of Hitchcock films, but they were like really weird Hitchcock. It was like not that weird, but it wasn't like Vertigo, Psycho. It was like the 39 Steps.
Yeah, because they I think some were maybe like out of copyright.
Yeah, it was something like that. But so yeah, I loved Roman Holiday, and I was obsessed with Audrey Hepburn.
They had the Jamaica Inn and Stage Fright were like very available.
I feel like my family should have taken that as a sign that I was some sort of like homosexual.
Some sort of acronym.
Yeah, but they still seemed quite shocked. Anyway, what's your number 4?
Something was going on in the past.
Yeah,
people didn't like realize anything.
No. What's your
you know, when I was a child and I was like extremely interested in maps. And that was normal. The next one I wrote was Welcome to the Sticks.
I also liked this film.
I liked this movie so much. It was the first...
I think we bonded over this film, Rebecca.
Yeah, it was the first film festival film that I ever saw, 2008. And I went with 2 of my friends and they both hated it.
Oh, no.
And I just didn't say anything afterwards because they were like, oh, that was like so shitty. Ugh, boring. Like, you know.
See, because
you know when you're a teenager and people say stuff like that and you're just like, oh.
You're just like, oh, yeah, nah, true.
And then you like keep the ticket.
My dad has a master's in French. And so we were always going to see French films, mainly like farces. And so when I saw this, I was like, hell yeah, this is like the best one of these I've seen.
Yeah, it is the best one of these movies.
So
it's
yeah, you say what the movie is, because I think people might not know what this is.
Yeah, people aren't going to be like, oh, of course. Bienvenue chez les ch'tis. It's about a post office manager who he has like problems. He has problems with his wife, and he is going to get transferred to, where does he live? Ron. Anyway, he's in Provence, and he's going to get a transfer to the like Mediterranean coast, and that's going to solve his problems with his wife. Except he thinks it's going to be easier to. He hears that it's going to be easier to get the job for people with disabilities.
Yes.
So he pretends that he needs to use a wheelchair, except when he like does the meeting, he forgets and stands up at the end, and so he gets punished by being sent to this village near Dunkirk.
Oh my God.
And his family doesn't come with him because they're like, we can't bear it. We'll die there. And so the film is like, it's like very, very farcical about what the north of France is like. I think, like, you know, if we're thinking geographically, the whole of France is south of the UK and pretty much all of Germany.
Yeah.
It's not that cold in the north. And so he just goes there by himself, and he's like really depressed and stuff. And there's some homophobic stuff in there too. Ugh.
Oh, yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah, you know. But then he like soon sort of like falls in love with the charming people that he meets. And there's this like great scene where they like show him how they deliver, like they like, let's get you out on the bike and show you how we like deliver the mail. Oh, because he's like annoyed with the one of the posties because they keep getting drunk.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we'll show you what it's like. And then he like goes out with him on the bike and then finds out that like every single person you deliver a letter to in this town will like ask you in for a drink.
That's such a good like montage sequence.
Yeah.
Rebecca, did you know that they made a sequel to this in 2018?
I think maybe I briefly read that.
We gotta see that. We gotta watch this.
I don't know. I don't want to have it ruined.
The Styx Family. I imagine maybe what the English title would be. Wow.
And then they end up like lying to his wife. Because she like thinks that sorry, I'm trying to remember, I haven't seen this for like 15 years. She thinks that he's lying to her, that it's actually fine. And so he like, because of their like issues in their relationship, he decides to tell her that she's right and he's just putting it on for her. And then she decides she's going to like gather the strength to like come and visit him. Except then he like has to tell all the townspeople that she like believes all these like horrendous stereotypes about what they're like. And so they all like play it up for her because they like love him so much.
Aww.
That they're like all like... they're like covered in dirt and like wearing these like 70s clothes, and they're like holding like open beer cans and stuff, and like pick her up in this van with no seatbelts and like speak with these like heavy accents and stuff.
Did you see the this director's next film, Nothing to Declare?
The Belgian one? Yeah. We did see that.
Good.
I think maybe we saw that at the same time.
Rebecca, I've got an important question for you and for the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
What's the French farce movie where the guy learns how to play the church bells?
Yeah, that's the same movie.
Is that Nothing to Declare?
No, that's Welcome to the Styx.
That's Welcome to the Styx. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. I was like, I thought it was Welcome to the Styx.
Because this is how I did not know the English word for this. This is how it happened. Is that I was like always knew it as like carillon.
Oh yes, I think people do call it that in English though.
Yeah, I think so, but I'd like only heard of it in this movie. And yeah, he like this guy like his new friend plays the church bells, and then he like plays it. He plays like I just called to say I love you on the church bells to propose to his girlfriend. And then like the like main character has to like take over for him so that he can go and meet her outside, and he's really bad at it. It's like this is how great this movie is, but please ignore the sort of like homophobic stuff that happens in the beginning.
Everyone should go and watch some French fast movies.
French fast movies. Yeah, well, Nothing to Declare
by Danny
is about...
Boone.
Nothing to Declare is about...
it's about...
the EU borders.
The French-Belgian border, and it's like customs officers, and then a French guy falls in love with a... Yeah.
Belgian. It's about two enemy customs workers who work on either opposing sides of the French-Belgian border, and the Belgian guy like hates the French guy, and then the French guy like goes out with his sister. I'll
never forget the image that stuck with me from that movie is there's the Belgian pissing baby. They have like a maple syrup dispenser or something shaped like the pissing baby where it pisses out onto waffles.
Piss.
Yeah. Okay, I think we got to move on to number 5, Rebecca. My number 5 is the film
your number 5.
Funny Man from 1994.
What's that?
I barely remember what actually happens in this movie. It's here's Claudio Caravallo from Rio de Janeiro has thankfully given us the storyline. The lucky music producer and gambler Max Taylor wins a manor from Callum Chance in a poker game. He travels with his wife and 2 children to the house. Meanwhile, his loser brother, Johnny Taylor, travels in a van to deliver Max's belongings to the family in the house and gives them a ride to 3 hitchhikers. What they do not know is that the jester demon, the funny man, lives in the manor and is thirsty for blood.
The jester demon?
Yeah, so it's like a comedy horror movie, and the demon. It's like if the guy from Hellraiser, I can't remember what the guys from Hellraiser are called. If instead of wanting to do like pervert sex, they wanted to do like riddles and games. But this was like
that's more suitable to you.
Yeah, well, I picked this because I watched a lot of really like low budget weird movies because they had them on DVDs for like $2 at the warehouse, and basically the more like outre looking the movie, the kind of more likely I was to watch it. And this one, this might have been like the first movie I saw that had like Christopher Lee in it, or the first movie where I like thought about who Christopher Lee was. And this was like partly kind of my gateway into watching a bunch of like Hammer horror and like trauma movies. So this was kind of important to me, even though I'm pretty sure the movie sucks nuts. I think it blows hard.
I think the Hammer horror movies is going to be in our later segment.
Oh, if we do like a what were you watching in your 20s or whatever?
Yeah.
True.
What were you watching at the university?
What was I watching at the university?
I mean, we are not doing that today.
What's your number 5?
Okay, so I want to do my number 5 and then we can briefly mention the documentaries.
Okay.
I think. Okay, so my number 5 was The Spanish Apartment. Which
what's that?
Was like my favorite movie as a teenager, I think. The Spanish Apartment is a film directed by Cedric Klapisch. I think it is. I need to check the year.
Oh, in the UK, it was called Potluck.
Yeah.
It's from 2002.
2002. And it stars Marjorie and, to a lesser extent, Audrey Tautou. And he's like doing Erasmus. He's like a student, but he's like a postgrad student from Paris, and then he like moves to Barcelona, even though his girlfriend doesn't want him to. And then he is sort of just like living in this house with all these like different, exchange students from different parts of Europe. And so like that's like half of it is the sort of like cultural differences, all of this sort of stuff. And then the other half is him sort of like fighting against his like destiny to be an economist.
Oh my God.
And there's some like slightly surreal stuff about these like dreams that he's having. And he like, because on the flight on the way there, he meets this like older couple, and he is like the guy is a brain doctor.
Neurosurgeon?
He's
No?
he's like a neuropsychologist, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he like has all these dreams about like the older like the guy's wife, and then he like goes and he like has all these hallucinations, and he ends up having an affair with the guy's wife, and he like breaks up with his French girlfriend, and all this other stuff, and then they all come together at the end. I don't know. There's like this one line where the like English person. The English woman in the flat is like, oh, I wish that we could just like go back to this like one night where we were like having so much fun in the street and like singing and stuff. And then that guy was playing guitar, and then the main character Xavier is like, that guy who was playing fucking No Woman No Cry. And then he sort of like realizes that his like experience of like being an exchange student is over.
Damn.
Like that part of his life, that part, like exploratory part of his life is over. And he's like, does not think that this is like cool or anything anymore. But then he like goes back to Paris and decides like not, he like does one day, he does like one morning in the like economist office, and then like quits. And there's two more movies. The second one is really good, and the third one is no good.
Okay.
The second one's the Russian dolls, or they like get back together to go to one of the characters' weddings in Moscow.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ends up becoming like a romance novelist or something.
Hell yeah. I'm going to have to watch this one.
But yeah, but there's a scene that like as a teenager you're like, oh my god, it's so emotional. I don't think that I would think this now, is that when he's like back in Paris, he's like walking around and he like sees some exchange students, and he's like, are you guys on Erasmus? And they're like, who the fuck are you? And then he just walks around by himself in No Surprises place.
Oh. Hell yeah.
Oh my god.
Perfect.
Imagine like seeing
filmmaking.
this for the first time and you're like 14.
No Surprises, when I was like 14, I was like, wow, this is the best song anyone's
You're like, this is what life is all about.
Yeah, damn. This is touching.
And I think it's like quite like a it's interesting because it's a pretty accurate depiction of what it is like to be 24. Which is, I don't think you see that much.
No, I don't think that's
There's like, you know, like in all sorts of media, there's like teenagers, and then there's like young uni students, and then there's like
adults.
Marriage.
Yeah, I feel like
people.
I feel like the Spanish have a particular interest in that kind of age. I feel like I've seen Spanish. Oh, I thought it was a Spanish co-production.
No, it's about a French movie set in Barcelona.
Yeah, no, but it's a co-production between France and Spain. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe the French care about it as well, but I just feel like I've seen this in Spanish movies.
Yeah, I agree. It's just not. I guess it's not like an American thing.
Yeah.
And then that trickles down to everyone else who speaks English.
Yeah, boo, trickle down culture, boo. All right, shall we move on to the kind of the tail end of the pod?
Oh, we're gonna say the documentaries quickly.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot about the documentaries. I got really obsessed with a French documentary about little school kids called Avoir et Être, like to have and to be and to have. It was just about like kids in a rural school. I don't know why. I made my parents buy it for us on DVD. And also one about a spelling bee that I can't remember anything
The
about.
spelling bee one is really interesting.
It's good.
Yeah, I think it's just called Spelling Bee.
I think so.
Yeah, that one, I saw that one at the documentary film festival. And it's super interesting. I was going to say that my documentary is called Suddenly Last Winter, and it was about gay marriage in Italy.
Oh wow, I got to see that because I feel like no one apart from me is referencing the film Suddenly Last Summer, so I'm like, I'm here for it. They're doing it.
It's made by a couple. And one of them, I think one of them is just like a documentarian, and one of them is a TV host.
Yeah.
And he's German, and they like live in Rome, and they're sort of like, they want to get married. They like made the documentary themselves. They want to get married, but it's not legal in Italy, and they're sort of like the like, you know, the sort of like inner city, like modern Roman culture is like totally,
Yeah.
you know, in opposition to the Vatican, which is like right there. And
That sounds fascinating.
yeah, I was like, I found this movie like just so emotional. And then I remember like afterwards I like texted my friend about it and she was like, I'm not going to get married until gay marriage is legal. Now she is gay.
I mean, accurate prediction.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, who do you mean by they? And there's the scene that like really got to me in the documentary is that they start like interviewing people in the train station and just like on the street and stuff, asking what you think about gay marriage, and like most people are opposed. And then they're like, you know, they're like, oh, I just think it's like immoral, and I think that it's like wrong, it's like unnatural, and I don't think like people like that should like be in Italy and stuff. And then at one point one of the guys is like, well, would you say that to an actual gay couple? You know, we're gay, like this is actually my boyfriend. And then the other one's like, stop, oh my god. Like, and then they like go off to the side and like have this argument about it.
Oh my god.
And I was I was soaking it all up, but I was like, yeah, it was really upsetting. And then at the end they have like a there's like some kind of like Italian language joke about the name of the bill that they were arguing is like the same as a supermarket, and so they like have a joke where they come out of the supermarket in a trolley, like in place of like, you know, the wedding cart with the cans.
Yeah.
And I think I looked it up like last year and they were still together, because I was like, oh, I would be ruined if these people never spoke to each other again or whatever.
Oh, that's a beautiful. Oh, I'm happy about that. I need to watch this.
If you can find it, I have not personally been able to find it, but it could be one of those things where you just have to pay money.
All right, let's go towards the end of the show. Is there any movies that you're looking forward to that are coming out soon, Rebecca?
I'm a little bit interested to see Bike Riders.
Me too. I think that's gonna be kooky. That looks fun.
They still haven't announced the full program for the film festival, and everything they have announced, I'm like, oh, I'm not interested.
I think in the next pod we'll probably be talking about what's happening at the film festival and at MIF as well.
Oh, at MIF.
Yeah. So look forward to that, humble listener.
And I wanted to see Maxine.
Yes.
But I can't watch the trilogy. Due to physical pain.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're showing them all together.
They're showing them all together. It's like there's no way that I could do that.
I mean, I think none of them are very long, but yeah, no, fair enough.
I haven't seen X, but I have seen Pearl.
Okay.
I was very disconcerted by Pearl because I didn't know anything about it, and I saw it in Berlin.
Yeah.
And as soon as it started, I was like, "Oh, this is New Zealand."
Yeah, no, that's how I felt when I saw X. I was like, "Oh, cool, they're in New Zealand."
I was trying to have like a foreign experience. You can always tell if something's in New Zealand by the light.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like when I talk to overseas people about this, they sort of like don't believe me or don't really understand what I'm saying. The light in New Zealand is completely different than any other country.
Yeah, I realised it when they had stopped the car like by the side of the road, and then there was like a shot that had the sky and I was like, oh yeah, it's New Zealand.
It's like when she's in the cornfield.
Yes, yeah.
You're like, oh, that's our sky. That's different than all other skies for some reason. Even Australia.
Are you excited for Kinds of Kindness?
I've heard mixed.
Yeah, me
things.
too. And I feel like I'm getting Lanthimos news every other day, which has kind of like dulled my excitement a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. And I've like seen a lot of like commentary from, you're like, oh, okay, is that what you think? And then you see like their ranking of Lanthimos movies and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Turns out you don't know anything.
Ooh, turns out you don't know anything.
Are we going to watch Twisters for the pod?
I don't know. I don't know because I'm going away for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
2-3 week sessions of being away.
We can have that discussion off mic.
Yeah, we'll have that discussion off mic.
I've seen some people tweeting about a film called Vordelak, Vour.
Yeah, I saw that for the first time today, I think.
Yeah, which looks like a kind of like a Hammer horror. It looks specifically like, I think it's called Circus of Horror. But like, apparently it's also quite gay. So I'm kind of like, this sounds fun. And all the tweets are obviously people in America being like, oh, it's out now. You've got to see it. Well, it's not out here. I find it so annoying when Americans love to tweet, I'm so late to this, sorry. And it's a movie that's been out for like 3 days in America and no other countries in the world. Oh my God. It's showing at something called the Fantastic Film Festival Australia. Or maybe it already did. Okay, looks like I missed that.
The Fantastic Film Festival of Australia.
I got to get more plugged into the scene, Raz.
Yeah, it's difficult when you're if you're in a country that is not an English speaking country, what films they have tends to be quite random.
Yeah.
Because it depends like what has like had subtitles made for it and stuff, as well as the distribution issues.
Yeah. Yeah, damn.
Because I found out that Passages was only released in the US.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was in Europe and they didn't for 3 months when it came out and no one had it.
And that has been Cinema Bing Bong. Rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. You beautiful hunk of a man, father of Kiefer Sutherland, the deliverer of incredible performances. If you would like to support the podcast, you can tell a friend about it. You can tell your mum, or you can do a little post about it on social media. That would be extremely helpful. You could rate and review it on your podcast app of choice. And you can follow us at Cinema Bing Bong on Instagram. Or if you've got thoughts or answers to some of our questions, you can flick us an email at cinemabingbong@gmail.com. I've been Amelia, and this has been Rebecca.
I'm just enjoying that I don't remember what the outro of the podcast is, and then you're doing like a full 2-minute monologue.
I just had to tap back into the zone.
Okay.
Do you want to ask one of these questions to end the pod?
What is your most controversial opinion about Amelia? Square brackets clickbait.
Well, obviously I can't answer this. Do you want to give a little answer to close us off, Rebecca?
Maybe that she should have listened to me when I said that she had psoriasis.